Bienvenidos. Selamat datang. Aduh, bocok. Apa tadi namanya? Dabro pajak. Susah banget, Bu. Benvenuto. Wilujeng Sumping. Nih, mana tadi tuh? Bienvenue. Susah banget bahasa Inggris.
Stay with us, okay? Please, come with me. Please, come with me, watch your head. In this part, I explain about another famous culture come from to the Amazon rainforest. The name of the culture is Waorani. The Waorani community was the smallest community in the jungle and live in 3 different provinces, Napo, Pastas, and Orellana provinces, and the population in that area are only 5,000 people, okay? They speak another language, they speak Waoterero language, and in their language, the name Waorani means free people. This is the reason don't use a clothes like us, okay? Using another things like natural vegetable fibers to cover or protect their genitals because they make different activities in the jungle like hunting, fishing, running the jungle and protect their genitals. Do you know why, right? And in this case, for example, the most important tradition in that community it's when the people who are 12 years old make the hole or the pierce in the ears because it's considered the most important people inside in the community or the leader in that community. For example, the leader to hunting, the leader to fishing, the leader to the Guarani people went here and built that construction in only 3 days. And this construction is for 20-25 people live here, okay? 4 different families and each family in each corner and sleep in a hammocks, probably 4 or 5 people in one hammock. Yes, really big hammock. But oh, the baby car it's in another place. Okay, friends. Well, in this part, I explain about another famous community in the center of the earth. Okay, for example, the name of the community was Kitukara, the Kitwe country. Okay, but right now preserve the language only in the coast of the Ecuador. In the coast of the Ecuador, the Sachilas community speak the Safitu language, only 1,000 people, no more. Okay, and in this case, in Safiki language, Quito means Ki, center, and To, earth. Quito means center of the earth. This is the reason when the people travel to Ecuador study about the culture because they knew stay exactly in the center of the earth. But what do you think? What do you think about that? How they knew stay exactly in the center of the earth? Yeah, but which is the principal star? Yes, the sun. The answer was the sun. They believe in the sun, the moon, the stars, but basically in 2 important dates to study about the sun. March 21st and September 23rd. What happened those dates? Friends, right now you can see here an agriculture calendar, and this calendar is so special here in this museum and in this country because work 6 months in the northern hemisphere and 6 months later in the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere work September to March and in the southern hemisphere March to September. The reason the inclination of the earth around the sun. Ecuador has two perspectives when you look the sun. 6 months in the southern hemisphere, okay, you can see the sun a little bit more in the south, and 6 months later in the northern hemisphere. It's just a perspective about the inclination of the earth around the sun. And this is the reason, for example, right now it's impossible you can see the shadow. I'm so sorry, it's no sunny day. But for example, the shadow stay here. The shadow will stay here in the northern hemisphere 6 months, September to March. When the shadow you can see here in the northern hemisphere, the reason, for example, the countries in the northern hemisphere stay in a cold seasons right now, like your country, yes? But for example, they saw in the southern hemisphere stay in a hot seasons. 6 months later, switch. Hot seasons in the north, cold seasons in the southern hemisphere. But the countries on the equator, like your country and my country, stay in equal time. Yes? Not has a seasons. But for example, here in Ecuador, the indigenous groups divide the agriculture calendar in 4 different parts according to the time here. For example, the green color is a representation December, January, and February. It's the perfect time when the people, for example, the first time the plants grow up, the first leaves, you can see the first time here, December, January, and February. March, April, and May is the perfect time to harvest a tender grains. June, July, and August is the perfect time to harvest a ripe grains, and September, October, and November, rest of the land, prepare the land and put the seeds and make the process again. But maybe, okay, maybe you can see the shadow a little bit, maybe when I move my arm. Look at that. You can see a little bit the shadow when I move my arm. Yes, it's really a little bit, right?
You take the white paper.
Yes, maybe it's better. Yes, yes. When I look at that.
A little bit.
When I move the white paper, you can see the shadow, right?
A little bit.
Yes, a little bit. The shadow stay here. But for example, look at that. In the south, nothing. No, only in the northern hemisphere. You can see the shadow better here, right?
Yes.
In that position.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. And in this part, in this case, remember 6 months here, 6 months later, in the other side. Okay. And another important reason the Kitukara culture new stay exactly on the equator, it's they, for example, they can see different constellations from here: Southern Cross, Orion's Belt, and Big Dipper. The countries in the northern hemisphere never can see the Southern Cross, and the countries in the northern hemisphere never can see the Big Dipper. But the countries on the equator can see all of the stars, all of constellations here. In this part, you can see the big sundial with me, and this sundial work is similar to the agricultural calendar. 6 months here in the southern hemisphere, and 6 months later in the northern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, you can see the real time, March to September, and here September to March. For example, a little bit you can see the shadow here, right? Anybody else? Yes? The shadow probably stay here. Maybe it's 4? Quarter to 4. Okay. The reason, for example, here I'm not perfect, okay? But with a little bit of shadow, I show you the time, but maybe stay here, right? But for example, remember, in this sundial you can see a natural time, not a commercial time. Because remember, we're using a commercial time every single day. We're using 24 hours exactly in a day. But the rotation of the earth around the sun don't has 24 hours exactly in a day, right? It's a little bit less. 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 4 seconds. This is the reason each 4 years we have a leap year or extra day. Yes, sir, please, come on. Come on, you can see the shadow here. You can see the real time here. Look at that, exactly, right? Maybe 10 to 4. But has a little bit difference. Remember, you can see the real time here and the commercial time in your phone or in your watches. Yes? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pachamama. The good vibes, the good energy. And right now, friends, remember, for example, the Kitukara culture, I told you about the culture. They never using the numbers to divide the day. Every single day, divide the day in only 3 Quichua words. Like, Tutamanta means morning, Pahta means noon, and Chisi means afternoon. Never complicated. because using only 3 Quechua words to divide the day. It's really easy here. Remember, it's really easy here in my country because every single day the sun rises 6 a.m. and the sun sets 6 p.m. 6 to 6.
Morning.
Yeah, it's the same.
Morning, afternoon.
And noon.
Morning,
Morning, noon, and afternoon. Yes, because every single day the sun rises 6 a.m. and sun sets
Yeah.
6 p.m. Yes. In Indonesia, it's the same.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in your country, no, it's the same. In your country, okay, Coriolis effect. I show you the experience of the water. But then the next challenge is the first challenge with the egg. Balance the egg on the top of an eel.
Yeah.
And the last challenge is with your body, okay?
Okay.
But first, have you heard about Coriolis?
Coriolis.
Coriolis. Coriolis effect.
No.
No?
Never.
But okay, maybe. Listen. Maybe have you heard about when you flush the toilet in the northern hemisphere, the toilet is spinning in one way, and in the southern hemisphere in another way, right? Yes. But it's not real. It's not true. Because remember, the toilet is a mechanical system, a machines, according the connection, spinning the water in the opposite directions, okay? But in the natural area, it's true. The water and wind is spinning in opposite directions in the north and in the southern hemisphere. And Coriolis was a French mathematician scientist learning about the rotation of the earth and what happened with the forces of the water and wind in the north and in the southern hemisphere. Coriolis said the movement of the earth is in that way, west to east. Is so fast in the center of the earth, 1,600 kilometers per hour. But on the poles, it's not the same movement. On the poles, it's really slow, 0.008 kilometers per hour. The reason the center is wider than the poles. But this is the reason the center, okay? The spinning of the earth is in that way every single day, west to east. Which is the direction in the northern hemisphere, clockwise or counterclockwise? Which is the direction here? Clockwise or counterclockwise? What do you see here? According the clock or not?
No.
Not, right? It's counterclockwise. But in the southern hemisphere, clockwise. Which is the direction in the center? Straight? Yes, one direction. And this is the reason in the natural area, the forces of the water and wind are spinning in opposite directions. In the northern hemisphere, the water is spinning to the left, and in the southern hemisphere, is spinning to the right. When the forces stay in one point, in this case in the center of the earth, the forces crash, collide, neutralize, and disappear. This is the reason in Ecuador, or Indonesia, or Colombia, never has had tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, twisters, because the forces crash exactly in the center of the earth. When the forces come back to the poles in a tropics, mix with another forces and produce those phenomena, like with hot and cold forces, and this is the reason produce tornadoes, hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons, twisters.
Vessels like that one, they already have prepared boiling water with different leaf from the jungle and put right there the head, not into the water. They just steam the head. The steam get the skin shrink. The first one is just the half, till 50%. And then a crucial time for them, because they thought that the spirit is going to escape, and then came again to revenge. That's why they must be quickly in order to cover all of the chances to escape and seal the mouth, nose, eyes, this cat, everything all. They let drop some hot rocks here inside. The hot rocks burn the fat, burn the rest of the blood, and the head shrinks. The last step, that was the most important one. just to make it gorgeous like this. Untangle, untangle. When it was gorgeous, they make up the head with the ashes like a black color and put some garnishes like feathers and here as a necklace, as my body in that picture. Or like me, in my spear as a trophy. Can you show me your fist? This shall be the real size if you get your head shrunken. Some volunteer for the shrunken head? No, kidding, kidding. This one is a real one. It was a kid, more than 170 years ago. And this is a sloth shrunken head, more than 60 years ago. Nowadays, they don't practice anymore the technique. Understand her?
No, only chica.
Mama Rosita is telling you welcome to the museum, very beautiful girls and guys, okay? So right now, Mama Rosita is spinning the shape ball, okay? When they get the yarn, the men use this one, yeah? And they a special piece in the Salasaka clothes is this hat that is not wherever when, yeah? Can you hold this?
Wow.
It's heavy, right?
Yes.
And fast.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was made by sheep wool, cornmeal, glue, and the water. And they put a small model on purpose. It's not because they have short heads. No. It's because when they use that one, you have to keep the straight position like this. And if they bend down and the hat falls, this is unrespect in the community. Many times the woman use that one for to hit the husband when he's drunk. ¿Cierto, mamá Rosita? ¿Cómo les da?
Se nos compra, no,
And the kids sometimes.